Hello, welcome to Understanding, Preparing for and Writing Your Assignment. This session aims to analyse the assignment, develop a planning strategy, and consider how you might structure a paragraph for reflective writing. One way of analysing an assignment is to use TAC, topic, action, and context. Generally, every question has three components. Topic, so the key area of discussion. An action, what is it that you're going to do? Is it an evaluation, a case study, an exploration? And the context, how the topic is situated. These can be applicable to subtitles and subsections, but what's important to recognize is that this method allows you to quickly identify the three components that are generally in all questions. Activity. Have a go at breaking down the assignment for yourself. Read the assignment details and identify the topic, action, and context in the statement. Pause the video and try and work out the answer. When you're ready, press play and see the answers. Do they match with yours? We can see here that the topic is inequality. The action is the reflective essay, and the context is early childhood. We can also consider the assignment by identifying the what. In this case, it's a reflective essay which addresses the issue of inequality. The why. Why are these issues important? And the how. How do these issues adversely impact children, families, and staff? The combination of both of these approaches gives you a fuller understanding of what is required for the essay. We're now going to think about planning and what do we mean by planning and why are plans helpful? Generally, a plan is a map that enables us to navigate the way we write essays. They help us to focus the mind. It allows us to think ahead, allows us to organise information, allows us to create a structure for the essay, and it ensures we answer the question or assignment brief. Plans should generally be drawn up after you've done some reading on the topic first. Before you develop a plan, it's worth considering where you are in your learning. One way to do this is to consider thinking circles. This focuses on three elements. The first is, what do you already know about the topic? Think about your previous lectures or work you may have done in previous years that relates to the topic. Also, think about your practice. How do examples and observations from your practice connect to the topic? The second element focuses on what you need to know. Where are the gaps in your knowledge? How does this relate to the topic or theme? Finally, what resources do you need to be able to help you to find out? What readings will be useful for your assignment? As you research and gather sources, make a bullet point list of key themes or points that may go into your essay. If you prefer making lists, then this format might work for you. Here, you list down all the core knowledge and understanding that you have. You then pick out discussion points that you want to cover in your essay and any additional themes that come from the reading. Here's another way of doing this. There are some questions here on this page. Use them to structure how to plan your essay. So questions like, do I understand my assignment question? What do other scholars have to say on the topic? Do I agree with them or disagree with them? What reasons do I have to support my main argument or message? All of these things that you can answer, and that will help you to structure the overall outline of your essay. When structuring your essay, here are some things to remember. Group similar ideas together. This will help with the cohesiveness of your essay. Individual paragraphs should be differentiated typographically. So by indenting them or leaving a space from one paragraph to another, it makes it easy to read. Each paragraph should only make one main point. Think of paragraphs as a mini essay. Start with the topic sentence, introduce the point, provide the evidence, and then summarize the point. And also show how it links to your overall argument or the overall question. Paragraphs should be placed in a logical and consistent order. So you can write your paragraphs separately, but then when placing them together, make sure that there is a flow or a narrative, and there's a progression from one idea to another. Each paragraph should link to the next using transition words. So, for example, you might want to use the word alternatively or consequently, furthermore, moreover. These are all transition words that help you to go from one point to another. So to sum up, here's a breakdown of everything that you need to do. You first of all break down the assignment. You can mind map or list. You need to research. From your research, identify key points and then decide on a logical order. Here's a very simple way of presenting that information. So your introductory paragraph, your main points, and your conclusion. And with each paragraph, you need to have supporting references. So you need to draw on theory. Let's discuss what a good introduction will look like. It's generally made up of 4 components. 1. Give a general introduction to the subject matter. State your thesis, i.e. your position or your angle. State the order and why, and then significance of the assignment. So you're operating from a general, broad strand, and then you are honing in and developing a very specific outlook that you present to the reader for the reader to follow. Let's see how we can transfer those ideas into an exemplar. So I've written here an introduction about introductions, and let's just follow it. I've color coded it so you can actually distinguish the different areas. So first of all, an introduction provides a framework for the essay. A well-constructed introduction will lead and navigate the reader through an array of issues to be discussed. Conversely, a poorly constructed one will make the job of reading a cumbersome task. That is the general introduction to the subject matter. So we know that it's about introductions, and we know it's about writing a well-constructed or a good introduction. The next point. Arguably, writing is a social act, and a good introduction that offers a dialogue is necessary in establishing a relationship between the author and the reader. This is the thesis. So the position that I'm taking is that I'm saying you need to have an introduction that establishes a relationship between the author and the reader. And that's what a good introduction is. Notice that I have labeled it as writing is a social act, and I have drawn on a reference and I've put an in-text citation there as well, because that is not my words, that is me drawing from some theory. The next section is this essay will consider the attributes of a good introduction and demonstrate how structure and language play a critical part in elevating the written word from basic description to refined analysis. In examining the relationship between attributes, language, and structure, deep knowledge of writing can be facilitated. So here we've got this order and why. So we're talking about attributes of a good introduction, so features of a good introduction, and then I'm going to go on to talk about and demonstrate how structure and language play a part in refining analysis. And then I've given the reason why in examining the relationship between attributes, language, and structure, deep knowledge of writing can be facilitated. The final part, thus, by developing an understanding of this area, students can improve the overall quality of their writing as well as ensure they have answered the assignment brief. So that is the significance. So this is the reason why I'm writing an introduction about introductions. And my essay, if I were to write an essay about introductions, this would be what the first part of it would look like. So here we're going to look at paragraph structure in a bit more detail. Introduce the thematic point. There's an example there. What issues of inequality in childhood do you want to discuss? Why is the issue relevant? So you need to be able to say those two things. Then draw from the theory. And you'll have a number of different sources. So you can go to peer-reviewed articles and journals. You can go to books. You have to look at how theorists have defined terms. How have they evaluated the debates or the discourse within the themes? And how do theorists offer differing perspectives on a theme? You can then draw from your practice. So what examples from your practice help to illustrate or challenge the point raised within the theme? What further sub-themes do your examples tease out? And then finally, you would have a summary sentence or a concluding sentence. So after presenting and weighing up all the evidence, what conclusions have you arrived at? The next example is a variation of the previous model. So you introduce the thematic point. This time you draw evidence from your practice. So what examples from your practice can help illustrate or challenge the point raised within the theme? And what further points or sub-themes do your examples tease out? Then you connect the theory, the evidence from the theory. So again, looking at peer-reviewed articles and journals and books, defining terms, discussing the discourse, the evaluations within the themes, and bringing in different perspectives, so different theorists bringing in different perspectives. And then you summarize again. So what you're doing here is you are demonstrating the relationship between the thematic point, your practice, and evidence from the theory. There's always a relationship between these 3 points, and that's what you demonstrate by layering it in this way. In the main body of your essay, you will have concentrated on the detail that addresses your thesis and builds a coherent argument. A conclusion is a space to zoom out and take stock of all the details presented. It should summarize your essay and your findings. It should convey the main point that you're trying to make in your report. It proves what you set out to achieve, i.e. your thesis. And finally, it brings a sense of completion for the reader. When writing a conclusion, be careful to avoid any new idea or subtopic. This is not the space to introduce new information or make any more points about the topic. All of that should have been done in the main body of the essay. You should also be careful not to include supporting evidence or details. Again, these should be in the main body of the essay. A further resource you can use is Academic Phrase Bank from Manchester University. This is a really good resource that has many different examples of modes of writing, so it's worth pursuing and worth looking at. Another good model to use is the critical thinking model. This is basically using the questions of what, when, who, where, why, how, what next, so what if, as it takes you from description, analysis, and evaluation. And if we just have a look at some examples here, uh, description, you can see what is it about, what's the context, what's the main point, who's involved, who's affected, who might be interested, and then it goes into why. And this is the analysis part. Why this argument or theory or solution? Why not something else? Why did this occur? Why was this done? So by using these question starters and generating your own sets of questions that are relevant to your assignment details, you can then structure your own model for critical thinking.